Sup, guys? Hi. I'm Isha. I'm here with my good friend Donnie. Say hi, Donnie.
Hi, how's it going?
We got audio. We got video. We're in 720p, baby. Finally.
hmm
Oh my goodness. Guys, I owe everyone, and especially Donnie here, a sincere apology. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. It's been a journey to get to this point. So I hope you guys are doing well. I'm glad we are finally live on YouTube. But man, I'm gonna make a video about this later. This has been one for the books, guys. One for the books. But I'm here with my good friend Donnie, and we've known each other for a long time. Say hi, Donnie, and tell the
How's
people what you do.
so basically, my name's Donnie. I started in the music industry back when I was 13, and I basically want to do something that I was passionate for while helping others, and I had a craft for how music was put together through lyrics and through the instruments. And I started off with an independent label and decided I wasn't professional enough, and then I just built on those resources and research that I knew, and now I do specialize in artist and brand development, and still help artists that are serious and can invest. So yeah,
That's great, Donnie, and we are live. I got it on my phone. So, man, thank you for being so patient, bro. I'm gonna have to go out and get you like the top audio gear on the market, or just go out with your family, buy you a drink and something to eat. So I just said you have been so patient, bro. Thank you so much. You have been the most patient guest I've had on this podcast. And I do love your shirt, by the way.
thank
So,
you.
yes, yes. Are you a big Star Wars fan, Donnie?
I kind of do. I got into the Mandalorian, the new one, but yeah.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, I need to get caught up on that stuff. And yeah, so like I said, you have done many different things in your career. You've done audio engineering, and now you do more so of the marketing for people.
hmm
Can you talk more about that?
So basically, I really specialize in the marketing side of music. When I first started out, I had to figure out how to do licensing, how to get people on iTunes, how to build a label, and all that. And when I figured that out, and I built the resources over time to be able to help artists grow a career like a major artist would, and it kind of shocks me now because I have a multi-million-dollar network of music industry professionals, from producers to engineers to people that do festivals. I mean, the list goes on and on. And now I can secure independent artists, major distribution through Sony Music, their distribution platform, the Orchard. And I mean, I do marketing like organic Spotify playlist, editorial, campaigning through social media, iTunes charting, billboard signs, plaques, and the list could go on and on and on. If I don't have it, I can get it. And basically, I'm able to turn an independent artist into a full time career with the same resources major artists have, as long as they're willing to stay consistent and invest.
Mm-hmm.
Because even the biggest artists like Drake, they invest in their music and they spend quality time on it. So yeah, that's basically where I'm at. I am the small team, but I have a couple partners I work with that help me get resources that I wouldn't have on my own, and some more resources I do on my own. I'm still learning myself, developing things, crafting things to help independent artists get better and easier. So yes.
Yeah, and you've come a long way. Like
hmm
I knew when you were doing different things, not so much with the marketing side, but I've seen you grow. You come a long way. How did you get involved with the magazine?
So funny or not, the magazine was just on a whim. So I did a magazine with because I saw a lot of industry people. I was thinking you had Rolling Stone, um, and all those bigger. like magazine publications, doing magazine for the industry, and I was like, man, maybe I should do my own magazine. So that's what I did, and I built a networkship of people over time on that too, which I never thought in a million years I'd do, and I might end up doing a future magazine in the future. But to speak on that, so at the time I was had the magazine was getting independent artists featured on it, but it was more of a networkship too because I did that magazine to basically get independent artists in there, but also to have a book of resources because in there I had someone that was booking shows through like major artists. I had just all different people that worked in the music industry on the a bigger side of things that other independent artists that were in it could use that magazine to connect with people, and it didn't unfortunately turn out the way I expected because some of those people I no longer work with, but the one that featured on the cover I still talk to time to time. She is Wendy Starland, and she is just amazing. She helped me craft the magazine cover, and so she discovered Lady Gaga and made who she
Cool.
is today. Before she became Lady Gaga, she's the one that discovered her and helped emerge her as Lady Gaga. And then I got a chance to network with Tyrese Gibson that plays in Fast and Furious. I got to network with his brother, which is also a musician, and he's in there. And then I had an artist that was also in there that was part of Strange Music, which is Tech Nine's label. So I had a vast amount of people in there, and yeah, so I mean, it's just been a journey to be able
Yeah,
to get where I am today.
dude, that's very impressive. And it's like how, and so you probably said this, but how did you meet her?
So I was looking for a model, right, that could
Okay.
be on the cover of the magazine, and I just kept on looking through people I knew, and then just looking through these magazines, and she happened to pop up, and I asked, and she did. So yeah,
That's cool, man. That's cool. And we do have some people popping in the chat here.
welcome.
I know. Here's my good friend Devin. Hi, Devin.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah. I was sending out the new link again to people. So, but yeah, everything that has gone wrong did go wrong today. My apologies,
Mm.
guys. Donnie has been a true professional. He's been such a champ. But yeah, Donnie, that's extremely just cool that you've come so far and now you're working with very high profile people. Um, so tell us more about like so is this become your full-time job or is this more like a side thing?
So it's more a side still. As you can tell, becoming full time in any craft, and Misha could probably vouch for me, it's a lot of work, but it's a networkship of things. So like becoming full time would mean I would have to have a plate or a catalog of artists that I work with, which is not really an issue. It's just trying to find the artist. The resources is not the problem, but finding the artists that want to invest in themselves because at the end of the day, artists can say, "Hey, I want to be on Billboard charts. I want to make this full time," but are they in the right place, or is their heart in the right place to do that? And so, as we all know, doing our craft, getting paid for it requires someone else paying us for it. So, I particularly though when do any artist resources, I try to give artists the most professional price and the most affordable price possible at the best price I can give it because as we all start from somewhere, and I try to open the doors for just every artist no matter how where they're at, if they're just starting or if they're already developed and need some more resources. I work with everyone I can and provide an opportunity for everyone I can. So yeah.
Yeah. And that's the right way to go about it. Say hi to my friend Iowa. How are you doing
Hi,
today,
how's it
Iowa?
going?
Sorry for all the technical problems, guys. I'm going to make a whole video about this later, but yeah, it's been a process to get going live today. Nice to see you, Iowa. Nice to see you, Devin. So for my next question here is like how does your family and adjusting to everything that you're doing, how is that to balance both of those things, everything
So
you
the
just yeah.
so balancing is very quite difficult because
Hmm.
I have work life balance is very important by the way. But I work a lot doing regular job, of course, and then I also do music and then other entrepreneurial things. So and family, kids, wife, and all that. So to balance everything, I usually do things where they're at school, wife's at work, or when I got free downtime, which sometimes could be weekends. So I fit it in there um, where it fits best, and it just happens to work that way. So like every time I work with an artist, I let them know what my schedule is. Availability is mostly weekends. Weekdays can be, but it's usually late night. So yeah, just working around what schedule I got and what I can do.
Yeah, and it's not as complicated for me. But I have heard a lot of stories, and I think it's very admirable how well you do. And I know it's hard. I know it's a lot harder when you have family and when you have kids and you have all that responsibility plus what you're doing. I just feel bad that you have to sell all your gear.
Yeah, yeah. So just tough times. Financial things happen, and you just can't avoid it. So sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. Um,
But
because the last time we were talking together, when you were on my podcast, I think, or yeah, my talk show, and you brought over like a soundboard and all these mics, and I was like, oh my goodness, like you just brought over like your whole portable studio over to my old apartment, and I was just blown away. So, but do you plan on kind of like getting new gear, or is that
no,
just kind of
my
done?
plan is in the future when I go full time, if it perspires full time in music, whenever that perspires, is to
Mm,
buy gear again. I really want to have my own studio to be able to record artists and craft them, but that's in the future. But yeah, eventually, yes.
okay, cool. Um, And like I said, it's extremely impressive how far you've come, Donnie. It's just been so awesome to see you grow and see you working with high profile people. And I think you've even gone past me because I'm still very like here in Virginia. I haven't kind of gone outside of that. So you're working with people all just pretty much all over the place now.
And the
So
funniest thing
yeah,
is I haven't. Um, sorry, I'm gonna get extension
yeah.
cord and plug charger in, but I haven't really worked with Canadian artists before, and this
Hmm.
year I've started to work with some. So that's a new
Okay.
venture for me. Trying to figure out licensing for them uh, compared to U.S. artists is a whole lot different. So I went through that for one of my first artists, and it's just a crazy thing to think about, and it's awesome, to be able to be so diverse and working with so many different
Yeah.
artists.
Yeah, and I think there's a certain charm to like just staying kind of like smaller, just a bit local. And that's what I do. For those of you watching, I do a lot of stuff locally for artists around Virginia Beach. And I've been doing this for well over 16 years
Yeah.
now.
Wow.
Uh, how long have you been doing it, Donnie?
I've been doing it since 2009. Bear with me, I'm plugging in my phone.
Okay, yeah.
Die. But yeah, I've been doing it since 2009. And yeah, I mean, it's been quite a journey, as you know.
Yeah.
Um, things don't always go as expected, but we're getting there.
So Devin has a question here.
Go
Let
ahead,
me.
Devin. Sorry.
No. That's fine. He says, "What are some of your best resources to sell your gear?" That is a very good question, Devin. I will let Donnie answer that.
So I've sold mine on Facebook Marketplace, but I would suggest you can sell your gear quite pretty much anywhere online. Musician's Friend is one. You can sell it if you really want to get some really good value out of it. If you got top quality gear, you can go to Guitar Center and do trade in
Oh
and do
wow.
it there. Sell your gear
I,
there.
I didn't even know they did that. I just said
Yeah,
I know this seems kind of like a dumb question. I only thought they sold gear there. I had no idea
no,
like you can like sell it back to them. That's
yeah,
cool.
yep.
Yeah, wow. So do you play any instruments or no?
I don't play any instruments, funny or not. I had a craft for learning, so like I had an electric piano I got one time
Hmm.
and played with that a little bit. I was learning acoustic guitar at one point, but I really never got really good with an instrument, so I really don't play any instruments. I have messed around in recent venture Pro Tools a little bit when I have time, learning recording and auto tune and different effects and stuff like that, but I haven't really mastered an instrument. So,
Yeah. And a lot of people don't know this about me. Is that I do a lot of composing for my films too. I'm not saying like I sit down and I play the instruments, but I work with composers and I can build them together in the software. So I do kind of compose my stuff. Some projects are different. Some projects they're kind of entirely made by me digitally in a program, or sometimes I will hire different composers and I will just let them do their thing. And I might send them like a temp score or a soundtrack from a movie I like and say, hey, this is the vibe, the feel I'm going for. Or sometimes with some composers, I will sit next to them or be on a digital call and I will work with them that way. It just kind of depends. I think every project's been very different. I think the biggest change has been a lot of the new royalty-free libraries, and so that's been great.
yeah.
Because yeah, I just remember back in the day where getting any kind of professional license for soundtracks was just like the hardest thing, and now it's just there's so many options for people now, which is just fantastic. So
Yeah, it's the
yeah.
same for the music industry. You you can practically be a major artist independently now. There's so much changing and evolving, and I'm always learning new things, and same for your industry, I'm sure. But yeah, there's a lot of resources, a lot of access.
Yeah. And I think my next question is, what's the biggest thing from your side of things? Because I'm more the visual storyteller, and you're more the audio side of things. Is that what is the biggest thing that has changed, like throughout the years so far?
So the biggest thing is direct to consumer. I think we're seeing a lot of that now. They're still streaming, and it's still an avenue to build fan bases, know where your fan base is coming from, to know, to be able to, if you do royalty events, be able to borrow funds to be able to invest back in your music.
Mm-hmm.
But direct to consumer is another avenue that's being really popular. It's basically where they have their own website of some sort, and you're selling your music directly to your fans. Is coming back more than it has in the past, and it's just one of the things that's changing recently. But it's good to see that there's a level of balance.
Yeah, and so we got some cool questions here, and I love how I can put your comments on screen. That's one of the big features of this software that I wanted to use this for. I should have opened up using this software,
Mm-hmm.
but I was trying to use Streamlabs and it was just not working. So, but we're here. Devin says that he uses a program called it's called Artlist. I don't know if you've heard of
I've
that
heard
or
of
not.
that, and I don't remember exactly what that is, but there's so a lot of things. Speaking on something similar to that, I think it's an AI music tool, but um, and this is the topic someone's gonna bring up. But so my thoughts on AI music is I think to use it to help as an aid is fine, but to use it to replace music altogether is not such a great idea because
Yeah.
I think the personal touch is needed. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of tools out there, like, and a lot of people use AI to assist with professionalism, generating, you know, whether it be generating a tool you need or generating just anything professional, like a professional resume, whatever the case may be. You can use it for certain things, but to replace music altogether, I don't think so. I think it's a good aid, but it's not like a good tool to use
Yeah.
altogether. And so the thing about it is Artlist, I think it does like AI videos, and that's another thing. A lot of artists are using like AI music videos where you can upload yourself into it and then have it generate a music video off of lyrics and all that. So I don't know if
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is, but
And it's weird because a lot of streaming channels will just go to those AI music softwares and then just program them to sing their channel theme song before they go live. I know
yeah,
Iowa knows
yeah,
that. We both know many
yeah,
streamers on here that do that. I don't do that.
yeah.
I do sometimes find like royalty-free soundtracks like on YouTube and stuff that I
Mm,
can use. I've used there's this one guy, he's a composer, and he was like the first trailblazer to allow a lot of content people to allow to use his film scores. His name is Kevin McAlloyd. I don't know if you've heard that name before, but it's a
mm,
very popular um, composer, and he started kind of just allowing people to download his copyright free music, and you'll hear it all over the place. You'll hear his stuff in YouTube videos all the time. You'll hear it in short films, even some like big films. I've heard some of his scores, but I was using his stuff like back in 2008, 2009, and he was the first big like outlet that people could go to, and they didn't have to like sign anything. They just had to like say, "Hey, this is where I got this from. Go check him out." And that was it. So and I haven't used Artlist before. I have like I've seen people use it. I know Devin's had a good experience so far. And Devin, if you can let us know like more about the process with that. I think that's licensed through Adobe, but I'm not sure. Probably not. But yeah, my next question I have for you on here is, other than dealing with AI, can you tell people a little bit more about like why you think AI is such a bad thing as far as getting licensed royalty-free soundtracks?
So the what I've been learning is AI music isn't 100% licensable right now, and so
Mm,
that's the issue that a lot of people are having. Like you can make money from AI music, of course, but you own the output, but you don't own. There's no way to license a vocal. Like so, if I went into like Suno, which don't get me wrong, I do love Suno for their creativity. I'm not bashing
mm,
Suno,
mhm.
but if you were to go into a program like Suno or someone else and you were to put your input and just strictly make it AI music, there you can't claim mechanical royalties, which are the back end royalties.
Okay.
Kind of like when you get a song in film or sync, you can't claim any of that, and you can't even put it for sync licensing. It's only for like front end royalties when someone streams it. So that's that. I know Suno was bought by a major label, so I don't know what's that's about, but I'm pretty sure in the future they might have something more in depth to kind of have its own category to be able to sync it and all that. They've had an AI artist already chart on the charts. I mean, the industry's changing. I don't, like I said, you still need personal touch. I know that with AI music, it's someone behind it, but the thing is with there's so many tools. Like I know in the future you probably can perform with it because autotune they have it where they have stage pedals you can perform with and they have software you can use for live performance. So technically, yes, they've always used kind of AI if you want to get technical because autotunes like T-Pain autotune they've always used technology to help with artist voice and pitch correction and all of that. But I don't think to replace an artist entirely with AI is, in my opinion, there's no personal touch. It's just a computer. But if you're using it for
Yeah.
assistance, it's great because you can use build tools with it. A lot of helps producers like when they're making music. Hey, I need an instrument to sound like you're saying when you tell a composer you're looking for this sound, you can kind of get an instrument or a sound you want
Yeah.
off of, to kind of fit your vocals. So like you can say, hey, I want a piano high pitched or low pitched or whatever sound you want, and it they can make it sound like that. So it's a great for creative assistance, but to replace it entirely, I still don't think so.
Yeah, and I just want to specify something. I only go to composers if it's like a
Yeah,
film. Like I don't really
exactly.
go to composers if it's like a Even if it's like a commercial, guys, like I've done car commercials, I've done all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly for that stuff, I will use royalty-free music licensing if I have
Yes.
to. It's more so the artistic stuff that I want very fine, precise detail of how things are gonna sound. And that's when I go out and I find people that are skilled and that can work with different instruments for my films and stuff. And it's a lot of fun. Like that's the thing I love about working with a real person is that
Mm-hmm.
you get to hear their passion and kind of you get to talk about different movie scores, different tones, different themes. And I made a lot of like horror movies, so those soundtracks are fun. I've made a lot of different action movies, and I want to make a big sci-fi movie at one point. I'm That's been a project that's been in development for a long time. I don't know if that will fully get off the ground, but I do love sci-fi scores. Um, there's just so much you can do going to a person who's been trained, someone who knows what will match up well. And when you use a computer, I mean, I'm going to just be totally honest how I feel. I don't think it sounds half bad, but then I hear all the complaints people are making and then all the things you just said. It
Mm-hmm.
makes complete sense why. I can see why from just someone who isn't very musically inclined, how having these AI platforms that can do this now can be such a huge benefit to have. But when you work with a person, it's just completely different. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And people think that AI music is going to steal people's creativity or like steal
Yeah.
human touch, and it just there's no way because there's certain things that a human can do artistically that computers can come close but can't come precise. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say this, a lot of the AI soundtracks or just anything generated by AI, like I'm really impressed with the vocals. That's the thing that I'm like blown away by is that you're telling a computer, which is a bunch of ones and zeros, guys, to to make a human sounding voice to
Mhm.
sing with your soundtracks, and you can program it to sing different tones, different styles. I will say I'm really blown away by that stuff. But again, it all sounds very much the same. It's like when you hear an AI song, you could tell that it was like made with a AI program. That's the one thing that I think even on my side of things, using a lot of AI software has been great for me because I can get all my YouTube thumbnails done super quick. And Donnie, I'm gonna just be totally upfront because we're
Mhm.
talking about all this, but that thumbnail shot that I made for you, I put that in Chat GPT, bro.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. As a tool, it's nice to use because you can build apps with it that
yeah.
scan channels, scan
Mm-hmm.
your channel, make thumbnails, make descriptions. It's a good tool to use as an aid.
Yeah.
That's definitely what I can say.
So I'm gonna just jump over to the thumbnail just to show people. I'm not gonna show the picture that you sent to me, but I'll just show people on screen what I'm talking about here. So here's the AI photograph here. So he sent me a photo, and I put this in ChatGPT. I said, "Can you include this text? Can you make the light on his face nice?" And just basically it took like maybe 60 seconds just to generate this, and it just blew my mind. So
Hmm.
I mean, on that front, it's great. And I get so many complaints from people like down in the comments or on social media, and they're just like, you used AI way too much on your channel. But I'm like, I know so many other people on here who used AI for their thumbnails and for um, pretty much all that stuff. So I see where people are coming from. I've gotten just a ton of complaints from people saying, I'm not going to watch this guy's channel because he has a ton of AI and stuff. And I'm like, but people don't see it from the backside of things. Like it saves so much time.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So
saying. It's
yeah,
like a personal assistant because
yeah.
with that you can even get do tasks for you that would take
Oh
you
wow,
hours. You know what I mean?
I didn't even know that. So
So
just
yeah, because I
wow.
don't personally know how to use it, but like the newer one, Claude,
Mm-hmm.
they you can design it to be a personal assistant to take care of tasks that are tedious that would take you hours to do. You can get it to do for you.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna
Yeah.
just jump back to this photograph here. So like I've done a lot of stuff in Photoshop for a long time, guys, and I would say just to do this, just to do all this here, would probably take me about 3 or 4 hours to do. So just try to wrap your head around that. Trying to do something that would take that much time just to design something like that.
Mm.
And then I could just pop that in and then make a whole command prompt. And it's like done within less than like in a couple moments. And so,
Mm-hmm.
bam. And so, I've heard other YouTubers I work with say this too is that, yeah, it's AI and you can kind of tell, but the time that it saves, even if I have several streams back to back to back, that is just a game changer for me. That's a lifesaver. I just said there have been nights where I just streamed something and then my friend's like, "Hey, can we stream this um whole new game or something?" And I could not do that, guys, if I couldn't use like a tool like that because I would say, hey, but it's gonna take me like 3 or 4 hours to do the title, the thumbnail, do all the hashtags, and now I can do it in a much in a much more convenient time span. So I think there's positives and there's drawbacks. So
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. It is exactly where you put it. Positives and drawbacks.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that those points people make aren't valid. I man, I completely get it. I'm not saying that when people say to me, I'm not going to watch your channel because all your thumbnails are made with AI. I'm like, fine, that's fine. That is your choice.
Mm-hmm.
I, I don't judge you. But
Exactly.
I try to tell people that, hey, I want you to at least watch the content and then make a decision then. So, yeah. But yeah, that's just me. I know this topic is people feel very differently. So,
Mm-hmm.
and but yeah, I know you don't post as much on YouTube, but do you use AI in your job field sometimes?
Sometimes, yes, I have to because, like I said, it's just time saver. I mean, you use it to, like my instance, use it to create tools or apps. Say, I'm not no software developer. I don't know how to back my hand how to create an app, but sometimes, creating stuff like apps or something that helps me utilize my time to
Mm-hmm.
make things quicker. Whereas, I'd have to pay someone like $4 or $5,000 plus spend all this
Yeah.
time, or if spend all this time learning. So yeah, it's everybody use it, and in music, someone say they don't use it is kind of crazy because someone on
Yeah.
their team or them use it some type of way. Whether if it's not music, they use it for tools, to maybe help brush up their lyrics or
Mm-hmm.
maybe to help organize their computer better or to organize something, build an app to handle this or reach out to someone, or when you message them and they're not available, it reaches out and lets them, hey, I'll get back to you. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I do have a very interesting technical question since you work more with clients than I do.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of stepped away from working with clients as much nowadays, but um, if so, like if you do use AI, is there anything in fine print that you need to put in there before you do something with AI for a client? Like of course, is there like a conversation that needs to be had beforehand?
So if you use AI, the best way to do it is to use it. It's how you use it. So like if you're using it for like generating, let's see, I'm trying to think. It have to be generating something for profit or something like that. Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Um, I guess it really just depends on what you're using it for. So it's hard to
yeah.
find an example exactly, but um, if I'm using it for like a spreadsheet or something like that, probably not. But um, yeah, I don't know how to explain it. It's just difficult
Well,
for me
I
to.
can give you a good example is that when I made this thumbnail of you,
Mm,
because I'm gonna just disclose this. He was not smiling, guys, in the photograph that he sent me. He did have a great background behind him, not quite like this, but he did have a great background. He was not smiling. I just told the AI just to make him smile, and it turned out great. So, and I did contact him, and I let Donnie know, hey, are you cool with me showing this YouTube thumbnail, even though it's not quite you? So,
mm-hmm.
so yeah. And I think that's the best way to go about it. And if people say they're not comfortable with that, that's
Yeah,
fine.
exactly.
But yeah, it's just an interesting conversation to have. Like I even like years ago, I always like imagined like we would get to this point where like technology is to a point where it's gonna start like doing things that humans do, and it's kind of getting to a point where it's a bit scary. I'm
Yeah.
like not saying like I'm afraid of it, but it's like I was just watching something yesterday about they have more automated self-driving cars in like Florida and in like Las Vegas, and I was like, wow, so that's becoming more of a thing. Now we have all the AI tools that we're talking about. It's just getting to a point where it's like how much is technology going to take away from what we make with
Mm.
our hands. So it's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, indeed. It's
Yeah.
use responsibly, as they always say. Like like drinking commercial. Use responsibly. Yeah,
Yeah.
always remember
Um,
that.
but if you guys have any more questions, please, please, please chat away. I'm so glad to see people here. I'm sorry for all the technical problems we had. I'm going to make a whole separate video about how insane just getting to this process was today for Johnny and I to talk on the live stream. Streamlabs was not being our friend today.
Definitely not.
It was crazy, and you know, Donnie is just the man. Everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong, and he was so patient, so kind, and so understanding. I was like panicking. so so I spent the whole day yesterday, Donnie. I spent the whole day preparing so I would have no problems today, and then it all just went to crap. so
Mm.
but that might be a good topic for another video. Let me ask you another question here. Is what are the biggest mistakes do you see independent artists doing nowadays?
The biggest mistake is the easiest one. Consistency. So they want so like say if I have an artist that I'm building traction on, and then next thing you know, like, oh well, I can't do anything this month. How about in a couple months? So that gap of time causes them to be falling back, and whereas if they kept going, they would have continued to grow. So basically, the
Mm-hmm.
biggest drawback is an artist that wants to just hop around and doesn't have that consistency, because it really affects them, really makes them, I guess, and not just results, but as well as makes them somewhat look unprofessional. So yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of get the same thing too. I think from the streaming side of things, um, it's so different because I'll either get the comments saying like your channel is just a bunch of AI slop, or then if I'm out live streaming in person, I was talking to like people on here that are watching about this yesterday, that since there's not a whole lot of streamers here in Virginia, and
Mm-hmm.
pretty much they're all either in California or they're down in Florida. I was streaming a car show not so long ago, and I was like the only person there that had a live stream going. And I told some people this. I said if I was doing that in California, there would be so many people live streaming something compared to here, and it feels like streaming is not so much commonplace here yet. Like you'll still get those weird glances, or people will get kind of off put by the fact that someone's live streaming. So you do have to be very careful, and you always have to like let people know that you're going live and that there's a live camera on them. So it does have its challenges. Even with what we're doing today, I feel like I've gotten a lot more comfortable talking on camera, talking on the live stream. I know when I first started, I was very nervous. I'm not as nervous doing it now, and just that, but it definitely has its own challenges. I think each field is going to have some of its own different challenges.
Oh yeah.
But so I guess my next question is, what what is the biggest thing that you look for when you get like a new client, and like how do you have like a mental checklist of like how can I help this person, or is that something that you don't take care of? Is that something someone else above you takes care of?
So I take care of the main portion of things. I take care of their budget, what they need, and all that. So basically, when I look for an artist, I'm looking for an artist as an A, which as blunt as it sounds, and I'm not trying to offend anyone when I say this, doesn't make a bunch of excuses. Every time I try to help them with something, says, "Oh, well, I can't do this," or "Oh, I shouldn't do this. It should be this way and that way." Because as a professional like yourself, it'd be like if someone's filming a movie and then somebody that's new to it would, just come on the set and say, "Hey, you should be doing this instead," but they've done it for 30, 40 years.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
not making excuses, not trying to tell me how to do what I'm supposed to do, and making sure they have a budget with what we're working with, like the budget fits what we're working with. Um, Letting
Hmm.
them know that consistency is important. Also, looking at all their social pages and their streaming pages to figure out where they need to start. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of how I would approach things too. I do have a very specific question. Is
Mm-hmm.
that I would get this a lot when I did a lot of clientele work for people, and different people handle it in different ways. Some people handle it with a statement in contract on a contract, or sometimes handle it like in person. But for me, I've had a lot of clients where they would ask for several changes to stuff. I don't know if you deal with that, where a client will like,
Sometimes yes.
yeah. How do you deal with that? If you have a client that's like, hey, I need you to change this, and then they just keep asking for different changes.
So depending on the client, so like to explain it, if they ask for several changes, I'm okay with it. If communication is key, like if I'm doing something, like if they ask for a change in something, hey, oh man, I should change this because I messed up on my part, or something that's not perfect. I'll try to go and change it. But if they're just changing it like every 5 seconds, or just change it and change it just because they feel like they can change it, eventually there's a fine line to where like I can, but this is going to be the outcome. Like if like if they change it too many times, like a campaign or whatever, I basically will tell them, hey, I can do this for you, but the results that you're expecting out of me, or the results that's going to happen from this, can't be kind of guaranteed,
Hmm.
because by changing it too much, you're affecting what I'm trying to get out of it for you. So you just let them know, like, I can do this for you, but the way my perspective knows and what works best is this is the way I've done it, and by changing this many times, it may not end that same result that I wanted for you, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and I have a very interesting question. This is kind of a combination of the questions
Mm,
I have, plus stuff I'm just thinking off the top of my head. But as far as branding goes, like if you're trying to help somebody brand their channel or brands their self image or a song that they're trying to make or anything tied to that, um, do you think it's harder to brand kind of like someone's album or their song, or like how do you tackle stuff like that? Like is that
so
just yeah.
so branding is can be complicated. So most of the people I've come to,
Mm-hmm.
you start like it's different for every industry, but I try to start with the song first, and then I can either work on branding later, and if it's not too bad. So basically, branding is really the music industry is not 100% difficult because the thing is making it personal. You know, your fans are the ones visiting your pages, so it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. Yes, it should look professional when you're trying to network with labels and stuff like that. But to start with, you should focus on your music, make sure that's professional, grow that, then start working on branding because branding is one of them things that has to be done, but it's not like an ROI or return on your investment. It's just one of them things that has to be done. So
Mm-hmm.
I try to start with the song and generate revenue, and then you can start working on branding because as long as they have a semi decent picture of themselves on, and their pages match. That's another thing I always try to tell artists is making sure their pages match because mismatch confuses people. And also, if you have an artist, make sure their artist name and legal name is tied together. So what I mean is when someone searches you, if they
Mm-hmm.
type your legal name, if they only know your legal name, your music pops up. If they type your artist name, your artist name, that's all they know you by, then your legal name pops up. You want them tied together so there's no like gaps in loop anywhere, and then also making sure your pages match identical because someone would hate to go view your content on YouTube and your YouTube's like Jerry Vlogs, and you go on your um, Facebook and it says Jerry Videos or something.
Yeah.
They would hate to have the misconception. So yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've helped a lot of people with that too. Like I was recently given some advice by another person who streams. And they brought this up to me, and I'm so glad they did. They said they were having trouble finding my live streams because I had it organized where I had all my videos to pop up, and then all my live streams were like down
yeah,
at the bottom. And then they told me, hey, if you put all your live streams at the top of your page, more people can find them and get to see them better that way. And it's like, and it's so important to be able to take like constructive feedback
yeah.
like that too, because that did help me a lot. And if I was like, hey, I'm not going to let someone tell me how to organize my channel, but it's so important that when you have constructive feedback like that from somebody, that you should hear people out. And that's probably one of the biggest challenges you deal with as kind of
Yep.
like someone trying to help other channels grow, or trying to help people with their pages or their social media. Just that, do you get some clients that are kind of difficult sometimes?
I
And
do
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot. So the thing about construct and artist industry is huge for it. You have a lot of artists, and not I'm not saying any method they do is wrong. But I just know from my experience what I've done, what works, and by seeing people, and in the industry I work in, grow independent artists and independent artists I used to work with grow and blow up and be able to do it full time is I know that's how certain ways how it works. And so when an artist, a lot of time with artists is they have, and everyone does it, but they have like an ego to where they think constructive feedback this is the way it should be done, or this way I've told it should be done.
Yeah.
And they have that ego where no one else can tell them what to do, and why is it not working because my way is the way and no one else's
Hmm.
way is the way. But when you're dealing with that, it'd be like if I went to their job and told them how to do their job, and just because I heard how it should be done doesn't mean that's how it works, you know. So I
Yeah.
think constructive feedback is important no matter where you are. And funny or not, you know, there's people, big movie directors, big actors, they still take constructive feedback from their colleagues, you know, how they can improve. So I think constructive feedback is one of the things, no matter how big or small you are, you should always try to at least listen. And then, you know, if it doesn't make sense, that's fine. But, you know, definitely should listen to constructive feedback because even the
Yeah.
biggest of the biggest take constructive feedback.
Yeah. So like for different clients, I know it's going to be different for you, but um what do you think makes an artist stand out the most nowadays? Do you think it's social media? Do you think it's branding or marketing? Do you think it's their talent?
So there's no like one specific thing, but because I can take an artist that's like at ground zero and build them. So like for an artist to stick out to me is an artist that when they say, "Hey, I want this is what I want," that they're willing to cooperate with me to get it done. That's
Yeah.
an artist that sticks out to me because an artist that fights me every which way is telling me that hey, they want it, but they're not wanting it bad enough. So if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And my next question is what advice would you give to someone just starting out in the music industry today?
For one, when you work alongside someone like myself or just anyone, um, for one, don't spam us a bunch of links. Please don't spam. Um, build build networkship, get to know someone, and then share your work. Um, Another thing too, uh, like I said, listen to constructive feedback. Let us do our job. We know what works and what doesn't. If you don't want to work with us, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But thing about artists is you got to understand is the industry is always changing. There's people that have been doing a while that know what they're doing. So just
That's very
word of
true. Yeah.
advice as an independent artist is don't burn your bridges. You just never know who you're working with or who they know, even if they don't say it. I know a lot of famous artists. I know a lot of famous connections. I don't bluntly go out and say it to everybody, but
Yeah.
just never know who you're working with. I mean, just because I'm some guy from North Carolina that you not really know or
Mm-hmm.
doesn't seem to have like a blow up following doesn't mean I know someone that's knows the works with major label artists. You just don't know.
Yeah, and I can get into this too. I can't get into it too much, but you know, yeah, it just all comes back to like who you know, and even if you're dealing with a difficult situation, a difficult
Mm-hmm.
client, a difficult job, you just never know who that person knows or who they're connected to sometimes. And my best advice is you just got to be as professional as you can, and not every job, not every client's going to be perfect. It's kind of like what you were talking about, like some clients will have that entitlement or that ego and they'll be like, well, I'm not going to take advice from you. And or you'll have clients that will kind of just come to you and then you almost think, why did you want my advice to begin with, type of thing. And then
Mm-hmm.
it's so important to just stay as professional as humanly possible, because again, like you don't want to burn connections. You don't know who everyone's talking to or how they're connected to each other, so it's so important that you try to remain composed and you just try to do your very best and just um try not to like offend people. That's the best advice I can give. But we're about to wrap things up here. I do have a couple more questions. I would just like to thank some people in today's chat. Thank you, Miss Garcia. Thank you, Iowa Analog. Thank you to my friend Devin Doyle. Let me check if we had any more people in here. I think that's pretty much it. But normally I get more views after the streams here. Sorry about that. Guess who's calling me, Donnie? Just
Yep.
I'm not gonna say who, but yeah, yeah, guys. I do have like a couple more questions here, and then we will wrap things up. But I do appreciate all of you guys being here. Thank you, Donnie. You've been so patient. I feel like the most unprofessional noob in the world after I couldn't get any of this stuff to
Mm-hmm.
just to go right. And that's another thing I would just like to make a quick statement on here is that, you know, when you're dealing with so much technology like Donnie and I do on a daily basis, it's important to not just give up when things don't go according to plan. Like I'm gonna make a whole nother video about this, but everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong today, and I just kept trying and trying and trying until we got to where we are now, guys. So it's so important that you don't give up. You gotta keep trying, and that's something you can apply just to pretty much anything in life nowadays. So it's so important that you don't give up, and that's what's gonna help you do good. So
Exactly.
so
I can
yeah.
attest for that a million times over.
Yes, exactly. I was the most unprofessional professional there is. There you go, guys. Here, let me ask like one or two questions here. But I am pretty impressed with how this software we got going is doing. It's doing a good job. Too bad I can't have 1080p quality, but we're trying our best here.
Mm.
Okay, so to kind of like wrap things up, can you tell people what are you currently working on right now?
So currently working with independent artists on a small tier package, and then going from they have the choice to upgrade, but basically major distribution, submitting their music to DJs, clubs, and in the indie like press, so they can get noticed on like Google. So yeah, it's like a all tier package, and that's like my newest thing. It's a lower tier package, and yeah, be able to get major distribution, be able to get some press, and be able to get your music heard. I mean, it's that's what I'm currently working on right now.
Cool, cool. And the last two questions I have is where do you currently see the future of the music business going?
Well, hopefully in the right direction. Hopefully artists. There's definitely direction of independent artists are kind of taking a little bit more control and taking a little bit back over. I see a lot of independent artists working with major labels again, and having a little bit more say, which is nice. And there's also a lot more involved on major, like as far as royalties go, like being pressed by or being published by Congress and all that. There were industries, independent artists are fighting back hard to get where artists need to go, and it's definitely a big change, and there's a lot going on for the future, and it's great for
True.
independent artists. So just keep
Yeah.
trucking along.
Yeah, and I think this is the perfect time for people who are brand new to get into it. Like we said, you have all these royalty free platforms where you can get royalty free stuff on YouTube for free. You
Hmm.
can go to, like what I said with Kevin McAloy, his website's still up. You can go to digital programs like what Devin said with like Artlist. You just have so many options nowadays, and of course there's always going to be controversy, so just try to be responsible. That's the best advice I can give to people. But my last question is, where can people find you, Donnie? How can they contact you, buddy?
So social media, and my full name Donnie Lee Farrow is on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram. I'm on Threads. I really don't use Twitter, but I am on Facebook. So you can find me pretty easy. Just type my name on Google and you'll find me.
All
My
right,
website's
man.
up there, my socials and everything. So
Well, dude, I gotta say this, man. Like I said, you dealt with the most unprofessional professional today. Dude, you've been a true champ. Next time I see you when you come back up to Virginia Beach, hopefully, I will take you and your family out. I will treat you guys to a nice dinner or something. I gotta do something because I was so embarrassed today. So but it's just nice to have great quality people like you on here, and so people can learn and grow. Thank you so much, Donnie. You have been a true professional. So
for sure. No
yeah,
worries.
man. All right, guys. I'm gonna sign out here. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm so glad I could like pop your comments on screen. That was so cool. So I'm glad it all kind of came together to where we finally did go live today. And again, thank you guys so much. I'm going to try to do more of these. I don't know if the podcast is going to come back in full swing, but I think this was a perfect way to have this come back. So yeah, thank you guys so very much.
Yep.
All right. And to sign things off, I will mute my microphone and mute your microphone. I'll show the title screen and then we'll sign off. All right. Okay, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye.